Hey, Kyle Querec here, and today we have an artist, a producer, a content creator. He's from the new guard, but kind of grew up with the old guard. He's very special. He's Patrick Breen, and it's today here on Music Minded. Come on. Let me try one more time. Just one more. Question one, Patrick. Can you tell us the moment that you discovered music? I mean, not to be so dramatic, but do you remember any memories or anything really, profound that kind of led you in the very beginning?
One of the stories that I always come back to, and it wasn't really that significant of a moment at the time, but I remember being maybe 3, 4 years old. I had figured out how to work my father's CD changer in our living room. And there were two greatest hits Beatles double albums that came out. I can't remember what they were, which years they were, but there was a blue one and a red one.
Yes, they were. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Disc 2 of the red one, maybe track 11 or 12. So mind you, as a toddler, this was like, difficult, but I figured out how to always come back to Paperback Writer. And there was something about that George Harrison riff, kind of not really one of the more celebrated Beatles tunes, right? But I just loved that. And I had this little plastic guitar with, multicolored buttons on the neck and, 3 little, flappers to simulate strings. And I would just stand and jump around on my parents' couch, pretending I was playing that guitar. And in terms of, I just always loved music as a young kid, but that was really the moment that I remember in my own life, not only being connected to music, but also being connected to the guitar, which is kind of where I really started to fall in love with music.
Can you go to a time, and this happens to some people at the age of 10, it can happen to people, we've had an opera singer, it happened in his early to mid 20s. Was there a moment where, whether you were at school, whether you were at a gig, whether you're in your room practicing, where you said, okay, I got to do this?
Yeah.
Where was that?
So I think there were some little moments along the way that really made me fall more and more in love with just everything related to music, right? My early adolescence, where my relationship with music was my mother bringing me to the piano lessons that I never really wanted to go to. And of course, now
Right.
as an adult, it's one of the best things my mom ever did for me.
Yes, sir.
Then in high school, I started, picking up a guitar that I think was gifted to me at one point, probably by my mom as well. Started to, kind of, I had a little bit of a theory foundation at that point and started to kind of stitch that together on the guitar, but I wasn't any good. So by the time I was maybe 14, 15, 16, all of my friends who were also musicians were already paired off in their bands and stuff. So high school was kind of me in my bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And then in college, I was really fortunate enough to just start a band like the first week of school, play with the same guys for 4 years. And, we had gotten to a point where by the time we finished school, I wanted to keep doing what we were doing. I mean, you're like, yeah, we'll figure it out. That
Right.
that young naivete, is one of your prior guests referred to. And turns out all the other guys wanted to do that as well, just with another band.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
I kind of got left behind,
Oh, man.
and it was a devastating season for me. Not only just the way it happened, it was less about it was almost less about the band breaking up and more about kind of knowing that you weren't going to be as tight with those guys anymore.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
But I mean, we all kind of have a pivotal moment like that where life almost gives you, hey, this is going to be tough, kid.
Do you remember your first great moment when you already had committed to the idea? I'm going to do this. And it doesn't have to be a record contract. It doesn't have to be a gig in front of 50,000 people. It can be a moment where you're alone, but you're about to go to a gig and you're so excited about it. Was there a moment where you realized, I am doing this and it's happening?
Yeah. One of the things that I have kind of taken upon myself as is my journey has continued is having more of a hand in my production. Whereas my most recent single, I produced completely on my own, mixed the whole track by myself.
Great.
And low, that was always something I felt underqualified to do. Felt like, hey, there's no way I can do this. I didn't go to university for this. I haven't been studying this since I was, 2 years old. Like
Right, right.
I feel super underqualified. But it was that song where I just said, you know what? I'm kind of at the end of my rope with a lot of things.
Hmm.
And I'm just going to do this because I like this song. I
Yeah.
believe in it.
It's
I
the
actually enjoy listening to something that I created for once in my life because the self-loathing is at an all-time
oh,
low.
self-loathing is a very real, wonderful, horrible thing. Yes.
So that's probably a good sign, I guess. And I'm at the end of the day, I keep coming back to this place of you're special enough to share your voice and touch people and share your gift, but you're not that important. If you put out something that sucks,
Right. You know
people are
what?
going to forget about it in today's day and age. You know?
You have to. I think that you have to think that you have something special, and I'm. It doesn't even need to be tangible. But I love it
Uh-huh.
what you said. The simple fact of, you came to kind of a point, and you said, "I'm just going to do it. I just like this tune.
Yeah.
I just love playing ball." Sorry for the horrible sports analogies. I can't stop
Yeah.
doing. But that's really what it comes down to. You just want to be in it. I really think that's across the board. People just get that sense and that feeling. So
Right on. And you know what? That was the first thing I ever was a part of that really took off.
can you tell us, the hell gig?
There was a 4th of July where my then girlfriend, now wife, and I were at a family friend's house. I had more to drink than I'm comfortable to admit. And one of these family friends who their family was hosting the party brings me over, starts talking to me about music. Her husband played in bands growing up. Their daughter's really liking music. The other daughter's into musical theater. They want to chat it up. Oh, we just bought the daughter a new Taylor guitar. You got to see it. You got to see it. Here's this Taylor guitar. And they're like, now play us something. Play us one of your songs. New York City musician. I was, I think,
Right.
I was
Oh,
a
that's
year
always
at the
fun.
time. Oh, you're this songwriter and you're working with cool people and blah, 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 blah. Like play us something. And, after a entire day of sugary beverage, I had no notes.
But you have a very interesting perspective because you kind of remember a little of the old guard. You are absolutely an expert in the new guard, but you have enough of the history with the old guard to really kind of know and have an intuition about maybe where it's going. So with that said, the question, where do you think it's all going, man, in music?
Can we even predict something like that? I mean,
No.
it seems like every other day a new culture defining app or website or social platform hits the market. And I mean, I definitely am getting to the age where I'm like, things were good. Let's let's leave it the way it was. But I will tell you, when I first started out, I learned a very big lesson in not fighting where people are and what they want. I think there is a way to kind of marry the old with the new. But I think in terms of the future of music, man, I think if you want to be an artist or you want to produce or whatever, everybody's got a pretty tricked out home studio that they're working from. And that's kind of at least in my memory, that's only like a last decade sort of thing. I mean, certainly people had home studios prior to that, but the quality of what you can
It's
create,
staggering. It's
it
staggering.
is incredible. But I saw a lane, I like anybody else, I started putting videos on the internet as a way to promote the music that I was making. And one or two things got a little bit of traction.
Right.
And then I was like, huh. So you mean to tell me if I do all of this stuff myself, I can maybe get in front of people and share this thing that I believe in?
What would you tell a 22-year-old Patrick Breen stepping on the pavement in New York City with a musical dream? Now that you've gone through it for a decade and a half or so, what would you tell that young buck?
Man, a lot of people on your show have said, hey, anything I would have told my younger self wouldn't have listened because I was, just bullish and
Yeah,
hard-headed and stupid, and I was just gonna grunt my way through
that
anything.
that's
And
important when you're young, though. It
I,
is.
it is, and I think that's true of me. However, I just think, man, it would have been nice to just have somebody say to me, I know what you're going through,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's gonna be okay. Because we as, especially in today's day and age, there is such a disconnect between this, what society perceives as the successful artist, creative, musician, whatever,
Right.
and what the majority of us are, which is a little bit more of like blue collar, roll your sleeves up. I kind of do everything myself. Again, dirt under the fingernails, kind of like,
Mhm.
workman.
I want to know your three Desert Island albums, and I want to know three tunes that you love the production on, if you would.
Okay. Just going with whatever comes to
Yeah.
mind.
Yep.
First, we got to start with Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
I think he's one of, I mean,
Yeah.
in the conversation of all time greats, he's definitely up there, but I just don't feel like he's talked about enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, which is crazy because everyone talks about him, but no, he's up there with
unbelievable,
the Beatles and Miles and Bach and Mozart. He's just that important to
Yes.
me. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
he's super important. The trendy hipster musician in me wants to go inner visions, but I mean, I mean, you're going to be on an island, gotta go with Songs in the Key of Life, man. I know that
Yeah.
that's the cliche choice, but that album is so special, and I have so many fond memories of driving in the car with my father. uh, I grew up in upstate New York, and my dad's from the Bronx, and his whole family lives down in the New York area, and we would just have these long
Oh,
road trips together to go see grandma and just listening to Stevie Wonder. And man, that's a special record to me. A John Mayer record, I would say Born and Raised,
okay.
which is certainly not one of his more popular records. It's a little bit more laid back, singer-songwriter, Americana. Malibu by Anderson .Paak, who at the time was not as well known as he is today. Now, of course, he's massive. He's doing a record with Bruno Mars, really current, really talented songwriter, drummer, vocalist.
What are three songs that you love the production value for whatever reason?
First one that always comes to mind, Owner of a Lonely Heart. Every time that song comes on, if I'm ever having a crappy day, I just put that on.
Number two.
Number two, gotta go with D'Angelo.
Okay.
Surprising. Feel Like Making Love.
So what's number three? Last one, the song with the production that you like. And it doesn't have to be snappy and modern. It can be old and gritty. Number three.
I will, for the sake of the story, I will throw in Paperback Writer, just because that was such a,
Yeah.
hey man, sometimes it's like you're 3 years old on your mom's couch. You have no idea what any of this stuff means technically, but it just makes you feel good.
Sports, food, or travel. Just pick one of those.
We'll go sports.
Oh, Patrick, I am going to write a check. It could be for $3.26, but I am going to. I'm going to write a check and I'm going to mail it to you because you're the
My
first
man.
person and probably the last that will do that.
I'm gonna do you one again.
Oh my
Baseball.
Oh, I'm going to start crying. Okay. Who do you think is the best pitcher you've ever seen?
Without hesitation, Mariano Rivera.
Oh, great answer.
I understand it's a different skill set being a closer as opposed to,
It's a great answer.
wow.
So who's your hitter? There's a lot of them.
I got to go with the Mick. I got to go with the
Okay.
Mick.
Yeah.
I mean, he, maybe not by the numbers, but obviously way before my time. But everything I've heard about him, the Eminem Boys, Maris and Mantle.
And he jumps, if you watch that old footage, and this is for electric athletes, he jumps off the screen. Like wait, Barry Sanders, Michael Jordan, they're just different than everybody else. He just jumps off the TV. Mickey Mantle number 2. Bases loaded, 3-2 count. You got a hitter at the plate that has to come through to get a hit. Who's it going to be?
Playoffs or regular season?
Oh, playoffs. Who cares about the regular season?
I'm biased, but I got to go Jeter.
Oh, you know what? I hated the Yankees when they let David Cohn go. I cut him off like mafia. But you know what? Honestly, I can't believe that's my answer. But Mariano's a great, because I picked Pedro or Sandy Koufax, but you can absolutely pick Mariano. Wow, I love those answers because it's all about me. Anyway,
Number 9. Number 9.
What have you done recently? What are you going to do in the future? Give us something. What's going on with Patrick Breen?
Early 2022, I've got some songs that I'm really excited about. So on the artist side of what I do, you can always find me on your favorite streaming platform. A lot of what I do on YouTube has to do with kind of the gear that I'm playing around with. And, sometimes I'll make videos talking about, hey, here's a great option for beginners. So there's a little bit of that, but it's just kind of my behind the curtain, what I'm doing in the studio here.
Great.
So those are all great places to say what's up and hope to chat with some of you.
Awesome. And I'll have everything, whether it's your website or where they can find you on Instagram. We'll have all those links below. Man, this was very special. It's so great to see you. I could yak with you for hours.
Likewise, Kyle.
And we'll do that.
You're a very special person in my life. I appreciate you immensely, and I really appreciate being included in all of these interviews with some really, really incredible people. So truly an honor, my friend.
Thanks, brother. It's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming aboard. What a great time we had with Patrick, someone from the new guard that is dealing with all the social platforms and all the technology, but is old school as far as a singer, songwriter, producer. What a treat it was to have him. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kyle Querec. This was Music Minded. Have a great day.
This sort of thing has cropped up before, and it has always been due to human error.